Same thing with the Mashiach. 2,000 years we wait, and we hope. Maybe now, maybe now, maybe now. Already 2,000 years of waiting. However, there is a verse. Af al pi shitma'amea bo yavo. Even though he will be delayed, he for sure will come. That's in the book of God. It's not some wishful thinking of some rabbi. It's one of the prophecies. And his legs will stand on the mountain of Zion. Kol mevaser tageula. Will be Eliyahu Navi, Elijah the prophet, will come to announce the arrival of the messenger of God. It will be one of us. Maybe the Mashiach is sitting here tonight, who knows? It will be one righteous person who his lineage is all the way to King David's family. Must be from the family of King David. That's why his name in the Torah is Mashiach ben David. The Messiah, son of David. You know, the Christians, when they came out with their book, the New Testament, right? So they have 4 major books there: John, Luke, Mark, and Matthew. And over there, it's written that they try to prove that JC, according to them, is the Messiah. Some of them believe he's the Son of God. You know, there's different opinions in Christianity what he exactly is. But they try to link JC to King David. Why? Because they follow the Old Testament, the first book of God, with no one question. Muslims, Christians, everyone admit the Jews received the Torah in Mount Sinai in a public event in front of 3.5 million people. No question about that. Even on a Hamas website you read about it. So there's no argument between the Muslims and the Christian if the Jews got the Torah from God and they are the chosen people or not. There's no argument. What is the argument about? If God left the Jews or not after he destroyed the second temple, how many chances you should give a nation? You gave them one chance, first temple. The Jews did not misbehave. The Babylonians destroyed the temple. 7 years later, it was rebuilt. Yes, then the second temple was standing for 420 years. First one was 410 years. Second one, 420 years. After the second one was destroyed, it's almost 2,000 years. And it's not getting rebuilt. Once the Christians saw that God destroyed the temple for the second time by the children of Asaph, the Romans, the kingdom of Rome, they were confident that that's it. The chosen people lost their status as the special holy nation. And therefore they came up with their book called the New Testament, meaning part 2, which have to comply with what's written in part 1. After all, it's the same God. Needless to say that the first Christians who come to write a fake book, and that book has to comply 100% with the 24 books of Judaism, lechatchila, to begin with, the mission is impossible. Impossible. Even if you took the smartest Jew in those days and give him such a mission, remember there was no Google search engine, the Torah disk, none of that existed. He had to have all the knowledge in his head, which we know that there's no people like that. That's why the New Testament is full of mistakes. You cannot count the amount of human error there. Thousands of human errors. If you watched my debate with a Christian professor, 3 hours debate, I can only tell you how it ended. He drank 17 bottles of water. You get the point, I hope. So, you know, why is it? Because it's not his fault. The religion he represents is a man-made fake document. Therefore, there are so many mistakes. But the Christians do not deny that the Jews got the Torah in Mount Sinai. But they try to link JC to King David. Why? What's the urge? Because it's written in Judaism, Mashiach ben David. The Messiah must come from the family of David. So they try to prove that JC, his father Joseph, the carpenter, Joseph the carpenter, met Miriam, Yosef and Miriam, 2 Jewish people. They got engaged, meaning chuppah and kiddushin, not like today brings a flower and a ring. That's a fake engagement. The real engagement according to the Torah, Na'ara Me'orasa, it's 100% chuppah and kiddushin. The only difference between a married woman and meorasa and an engaged woman is the intimacy part. They were not intimate yet. But everything else, that's it. Chuppah, tabat, ktubah, everything. But the custom of those days were that the husband married the woman, put a ring on her finger, 2 witnesses, they write the ktubah, she gets the ktubah, and he goes away. He comes back after a few months after going to work, he brings some money, they build their homes, and they move out of their parents' home and they start their life. This Miriam waited by her parents for her prince, charming Yosef, but he went and came back after a few months and he saw that she gained some weight. Say to her, listen, I mean, I know your mother is a very good cook, but come on, I mean, what's going on here? She said, no, don't worry, Yosef. Come on, I'm pregnant. I never lay a finger on you. What do you mean you're pregnant? Come on, you suspect such a kosher Rebbetzin like me? Don't worry, God came to me in a dream. He made me pregnant, and I'm going to have the Messiah. So the New Testament begins by proving that Joseph the carpenter is 30-something generation all the way to King David. Remember, 1,300 years. It's 1,000 years. 1,000 years of time. 1,000 years is about 30-something generation. The only problem is that in 2 different books, 22 names are different. What happened to God? He doesn't know who gave birth to who. There's a list of 30-something generation and another list of 30-something generation, and 22 names are different. Imagine in the Torah, in one book it will be Abraham gave birth to Yitzchak. Yitzchak gave birth to Yaakov. Yaakov gave birth to Yosef. Yosef gave birth to Menashe. Then you go to Sefer Vayikra, same list, but with different names. Abraham gave birth to Shimon. Shimon gave birth to Avner. Avner gave birth to Yosef. Yosef gave birth to Yitzchak. What's going on here? What happened? What happened is when a human being writes a book, and few 20, 30 years he comes to continue, because it's a process. He doesn't remember what he wrote 10 years ago. Very simple. And now the names are completely different. But the best part is that they begin the story that God made Mary pregnant. Right? So you ask them, who is the mother of JC? Everybody answer, Mary, Miriam, Maria. In Mexico, it's Maria. In England and the United States, it's Mary. In Israel, it's Miriam. In Arabic, it's Mariam. But it's the same woman. Different pronunciation. So everyone knows where the baby comes from. You cannot deny it. You see where he came from. Who's the mother? You cannot hide it. Who's the father? It's another story. So you ask them, tell me, who's the father of JC? God. If God made her pregnant and he's the father, that means Joseph, that was away, have nothing to do with JC. Why did you waste a page and a half to link Joseph all the way to King David, when right after that you yourself write that he's not the biological father of JC? How dumb it could be! That's Christianity. 2 billion people follow this nonsense. Christmas, lights, Santa, all of that, fake illusion. Complete fake illusion. Islam, very similar. According to Islam, do you know who is the uncle of JC? Moshe Rabbeinu. According to the Quran, Moshe and Aaron are the uncles of JC. There's only one problem. JC was born 1,300 years after Moshe and Aaron. He was only born 1,300 years later. I don't know exactly how Moshe became their uncle. You want to know how? They got confused between 2 women that their name is Miriam. Miriam, the mother of JC, and Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron. In the Quran, the genius who wrote it got confused between 2 different Miriam. He didn't realize that they lived 1,300 years apart. So according to the Quran, Miriam bat Amram is the mother of JC. That means JC is the nephew of Moshe and Aaron. Now I want to ask you, if you take a Jewish kid from yeshiva, 5 years old, pre-1A, tell him I want you to write a fake story, will he do such a sloppy job? 5 years old. From here you see that the writer of the Quran and the writer of the New Testament, their level in religion was very, very limited. As results of that, there is tons of human errors. But Judaism, since it's the only divine book that was given by God to humanity, and we happen to be the Jewish people who received it, and passed it from father to son 3,300 and almost 50 years already. In this book that I wrote, it's called Preparation for Eternal Life. After you read this book, in case you ever had a doubt if there is a God or not, after that you will never have. In case you had a doubt if the Torah is 100% divine or not, after reading this book, you will never have a doubt at all.